Humans, and welcome to the ultimate map guide of World of Tanks Blitz. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the maps here in training rooms, and I'm going to have a look at every single one of them and drive through them and where to go, where to not go, what positions are useful, what positions are completely useless, and let's have a look at that. So we're going to take the Leopard because it's very fast, and now let's have a look at all the maps. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget like and subscribe, and also check out the links in the description. Let's go. Now the first one, Rockfield, is relatively easy. Just go this way, ignore this side completely. Unless you're a medium tank at the end of the battle, you can use it to flank. However, at the beginning of the battle, going up there is essentially suicide for the rest of your team that are actually trying to win. This is a great position to get some early spots off. Mind you, you can be spotted here. Obviously, tank destroyers might go up there. Don't recommend those positions for tank destroyers, because obviously you get spotted very easily and you can't get out once you are spotted. That is not very useful. I think the most important position on this map is probably going to be this ridge here, because first of all, you can see whether someone's over there when someone is shooting, and you can also surround any enemies that might be coming from this side. Now, obviously those positions up there, tank destroyers might be sitting there. Sometimes you also see Kranvang sitting there if you get an unfortunate player, and going up there is obviously a very bad idea because you get, well, to the bad side. However, at the end of the battle, if your team's losing and you see they're losing, what you can do, especially in a medium tank like this one, is move over here and use these positions to get some extra damage before everything is done. So basically on this map, you go over there. If you're a fast medium tank, you go and spot in that bush. If you're a heavy tank, just go around the back and then play around the ditch, and then you'll be fine. And if you're a tank destroyer, stop playing tank destroyers. And the next one is Desert Sands, and this map is the same essentially as if you go city. Too bad, you'll probably lose unless the enemy team is there as well. If you're a tank destroyer, you have two options. You camp here or you camp over here. That's pretty much the best spots you can do. I wouldn't recommend camping in there because obviously there is no route of escape there. Now, if you're a medium tank or a light tank, what you can do is you can play these ridges here and spot if the enemy mediums are dumb, whether they move into the city or not. And obviously also this area right here can be very useful to play around the plane here. You have to watch out though, because these have collision models, and if you are a higher vehicle than a Leopard, you can play a position like this one. However, obviously watch out if they have a lot of mediums, and you might get your ass kicked, so you might want to be playing a little bit more passive. Now the reason why I don't ever recommend going city is quite simple, because there is only one type of tank that is actually effective in a city, and that is a side-scraping super heavy, and there aren't many of those. If you put a T-125, if you put a Super Conqueror, if you put any sort of heavy tank like that into a city, you always have the same problem in every position. 90-degree angle, 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 90-degree angle. You cannot peak these angles without getting shot unless you side scrape around them. Basically, if you're here and you try to peek, you're going to get shot before you can peek your gun. That's why you always obviously don't side scrape in the Leopard. That's why you always have the side scrape positions like this. And if you have a tank that isn't built for side scraping, if you have a vehicle that is built for hull down, then it is completely and utterly useless in a position like this. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Now ideally what you always want to do is you always want to overwhelm the enemy teams with more players, and you also want to take the map control. Those are the two things that are very important, because the more guns on your team you can focus on the enemy team, the more of their guns you can take out, and obviously then that gets worse for the enemy team. If they have 5 left against 7, obviously they only have 5 guns that can deal damage, well, probably 4 because one of them sucks, and then they'll have that problem get even worse. So essentially what you want to do is you want to surround the enemy as much as possible while gaining the map control and having multiple angles to fire from at the enemy, and that is best done if you do control more of the map, and that is often done through the medium side of the map. And if you are a medium tank player, then you better be good, because if a bad medium tank player is far more detrimental to the game than a bad heavy tank player is, because the heavy tank player can at least stay alive with their armor, whereas a bad medium tank that sits in the city and does absolutely nothing is going to be useless. They're essentially in a 6 vs 7. Now mind you that this guide does not include Supremacy, because I don't play Supremacy and I think it is a horrible mode, so I will exclude that because I simply don't play it, and I would urge you to do the same as well. So obviously Middleburg city is dumb. Obviously you're going to have some teams that go in the city and just start capping. That gets annoying. But ideally, if you have a medium tank, you move up here, you see what can you spot, all that kind of things. On this side, there is this position, you can peek from it. So basically, if you go, have enough gun depression and you drive up this hill, you can use it to peek. So that is a very strong position here, like this. That's very useful. Also, playing up there can be useful, obviously, but you don't have much cover. So that is not great. You might see some tank destroyers camping back in those corners, or even in that corner, but I wouldn't recommend it. And the same problem here with the city is that it's all just flat corners that you have to peek around. So cities in Blitz are just horribly designed. It's always the same. You know, either... Well, these corners are more rounded off, but that doesn't change anything. It's just all 90-degree angles, which means if you peek, you're the one that gets shot at. Unless you side scrape around the corner, which obviously takes a while, which you ideally only want to do in a VK. Now, you have a couple of spots that can be useful, like this one here. But then again, getting into this spot, if there's an enemy heavy here, if there's an enemy here, you're going to get shot, so it is not a good place to be. Because obviously, as I already said, you want to be the one building the crossfires, not the one in the crossfire. So, most of the time, in a lot of maps, the city is on the side of the map, and the more you can surround the city, basically, whereas from the city, you can't surround, so... Not great, and obviously, I mean, if you're a mouse, it's going to take a while to get up the hill, and it might not be the best option. But especially if the enemy has a lot of medium tanks, then the hill on this map is absolutely mandatory to take, otherwise you have already lost in 90% of cases. Well, Copperfield, it's only for low-tier games, so it's not going to matter much. Obviously, medium tanks, you go to the medium side, heavy tanks can play around here. This is one of those maps, so both sides are pretty useful. Don't go down in the ditch, it's not a great option to do. And, yeah, Copperfield is... It's Cockerfield. There was a reason why it's called Cockerfield. For me, at least. Anyway, moving on. Now, this is one of those maps, Falls Creek, where the city is in the middle. And that changes things quite a lot. Now, when the city is on the outskirts of the map, then it is essentially unusable and useless. But here, obviously, you have the medium side with these hills that you can play around. And obviously, with the Leopard, for example, you can take a position like this early and then have a spot and see what is happening right here. You are going to have some tank destroyers camp back here in positions like this, and then also up here. So you definitely want to watch out for that, especially if you have like 183 or a Jaeger on the enemy team, and you are a medium tank and you push forward here. You might have some guy camping in this position back there. And from here, obviously this position isn't the best one because obviously there's a bush. From the bush you're protected. So ideally you want to be playing up there. But if you already have a guy up there that can spot that, then this can also be quite a usable position. Get shots down here and stuff like that. Now, obviously, the city on this map isn't really big or, well, important. Again, also 90-degree angles everywhere. Not good. You do have these spots here that are a bit more further forward that you can use in the end game, but obviously if someone's camping in the bush like that, then you're going to have to watch out for that. And if someone's trying to peek up here, you can use this bush to peek. And also, if someone's trying to come down this side, the same goes for the other house on that side. And then, obviously, there might be some tank destroyers camping back here. You want to watch out for those. If you are a medium tank player, and if you're a heavy tank player, obviously, the best option, the best thing that you can essentially do is if you're in a faster heavy tank that has gun depression, is push this bridge line right here and go down and hold this angle to deny the enemy to ever play off the bridge here, for example, so that no one can go like here in a Super Conqueror and hold this angle. And then ideally, obviously, if you do that, you need to be aware that where the enemy mediums are, because obviously you can be shot from this side if you're in this position and you have bad medium tanks. The enemy medium's going to go here and you're going to get shot. So you're going to have to be very sure if you do this move, but it can be extremely powerful. And from here, obviously, you probably have someone camping up here. Same goes for the other side, obviously, and someone behind this bush. So you can push that. And now, obviously, you have this can't be a destroyer hill back there, which this one does have as well, but it's a lot closer. So if you are on this side, you definitely want to watch out for that hill. But if you're on this one, then there isn't much. There's obviously these two bushes, this angle, and up here that you have to watch out for. And always peek with caution, because obviously there might be an E100 or something like that sitting behind those bushes. And you're not going to spot them through that unless they stick out. And obviously from up here, you can take shots on this position and also to any of these positions. But you obviously, again, have to be aware that there isn't any grill or a 183 or something camping in these positions, and that there are no mediums being able to fire at you from the city or, as I said, this bush position. So this is one of the more complex maps, as in because the city is not a factor. So yeah, this is one of the complex maps, and you definitely should watch out for how you play this one. Now, obviously, I'm trying to make this video somewhat condensed so that you don't sit here for 3 hours and then still don't know anything. So I'm going to omit some not as important positions here in this video, and I'm going to only talk about the most important things on each map. And the most important things on mine is to take the hill control. If you're a fast medium, if you're a light tank, if you're a Sheridan, something like that, and you don't take the hill, you've done it wrong. Hill is very important on this map. Because, for example, if you're up here from this side, you know, you can open up the tank destroyers here. Obviously, you have to watch out that you don't get proxy spotted. If there's a heavy here, you might get spotted up here as well. And there are going to be tank destroyers camping back in that position. Same on the other side as well. Tank destroyers are going to camp in the back. You are going to have some heavies going into the cap circle and towards the city. At that point, what you can do, if you know there's a tank destroyer there, you know, you have to watch out for this angle because you can get shot from. But if you do it careful, you can get shots all the way over here. And obviously, if you're on this side, then you want to watch out for, because tank destroyers might be camping back here, and back here. And there's another position that you can go to, and that is the island. I wouldn't really recommend that, going to the island from this side of the map, because obviously it's very open here, and you have that condensed tank destroyer hill back there. So if you do try to push from here over there, you might get shot, and you have to be in a very fast vehicle to do that. However, if you're on this spawn, on the red spawn, what you can do is you can push forward into this position if you know that it is safe. You know, if you have some backup, like for example, you have a tank destroyer back here that can cover you. You can play this position, and then all the heavies and whatever that are on the hill are going to be very vulnerable for you. But you obviously got to watch out for that position, and also this one if you are here. But you can peek like this then. And obviously, if you're in any form of heavy tank that has any form of gun depression, you go up the hill, fight around the hill. If you go over there towards the city, all you're doing essentially is you push to the middle and then you wait to get shot by tank destroyers. And the same you do in the middle, because this map's horrible. And I definitely wouldn't recommend playing it. But what you can do is like go out here with an IS-7 or something like that. You have to watch out for this angle, but if you can then peek around there and somewhat hide yourself from the tank destroyers. So that is mine. It's a horrible map. Let's move on. Then Dead Rail. Now tank destroyer is going to camp here, and maybe also up there. Same goes for the other side. You have those 3 typical tank destroyer camping positions. As a medium tank, you would want to go up here, you know, take as much of the map as possible. Now, if you take the middle of the map, you know, like here, the cross-section of the map, then you're already in a pretty good standing, because the maps are designed that you fight in the middle. If you, let's say, if you're here, you know, you have a pretty good angle towards pretty much anything on the map. So this position is very important. Obviously, everything else has an angle on you. So if there's a 183 back there, you're going to be ouchie. However, on the other hand, if you, like, let's say if you're a pussy and you sit back here, you don't have any angles. Like, you can shoot here, but you don't have any angles. So taking the middle of the map is very important, and sitting back is your doom, because then you give the enemies all the good firing positions that tend to be either, obviously, for the tank destroyers at the back, and for the mediums and the heavies in the middle of the map. You give the enemy those free positions, and then they're going to absolutely dominate you. And obviously, you have those camping positions back there. Tank destroyers might hide there. The cap circle on this map is completely useless. It is out in the open, which, to be honest, is pretty good. Open cap circles are better, because then you don't have the 40%ers just sitting in the cap circle camping, and that is definitely helpful. Now, what I would do, Super Conqueror, E5, Kranwagen, T-34, T-32, all those vehicles, this position right here. If you're a faster heavy, like a 50B or something, you can take a quick spot, see what's moving. Obviously, you got to watch out for the positions back there. And, you know, if you have no gun depression, IS-6, IS-7, all those kind of vehicles, you can go down there and try to push that out. But obviously, again, you have to watch out for the tank destroyers camping in the back. And you can also take a position like this one. You are somewhat protected from the back here because of this rock. And you can, if you have enough gun depression, first of all, you can fire down into this area if there's some guy camping there. And if you are adventurous, you can also go and take peeks like this if there's someone back there and you know this is open. So, overall, maps that have the city in the middle are better than maps that don't. They're a lot more versatile. However, obviously, they're a lot more complicated to play as well, because you have multiple positions that you have to watch out for. And ideally, if the enemy has more medium tanks than you, you want to take the medium side first. You take out their mobility, you take out their space takers, basically, and then it is a lot easier to surround the heavy tanks. And, well, now we go to Fort Despair, and this is another classic example of good side, bad side. The bad side is that one over there. Now, these positions up there can be very useful on both sides. However, going all the way back to this section is very bad, and I would definitely recommend ever going there. Because obviously you can get very easily surrounded by the enemy team. It's a very narrow position. Look at how tiny that position is compared to the rest of the map, and how much control you can gain if the enemy is just sitting there. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to gift the enemy the map control. Because if you let them control the map, you can let them control the pace. You let them control you, and then all they have to do is convert and not suck. Which, then again, is difficult on its own. But if you gift the enemy the map control, if you gift them the middle, the good fighting positions, all they have to do is convert, and you have to already fight back from a disadvantage. Obviously, on this map, heavy tanks can play very well here in the cap circle from these positions. Very useful. Medium tanks you can push up here. Obviously, you have to watch out for, again, the annoying pesky tank destroyers that everyone loves so much. That could be camping back here, or also in this corner. You could also have some guy camping all the way back in the spawn, so that is something you have to definitely watch out for as well. And but then again, this map's pretty straightforward. If you're a heavy tank, try to take this position here. You can pretty much see what's going on over there. You can't be shot because of the line here. You can even take shots into these areas. And if the enemy were to be dumb enough to push that side, you are still protected fully from that side as well. So basically, take the cap circle area. If you have medium tanks, then those medium tanks can go and take this side. But even again, if I'm a medium, still at the beginning of the battle, I try to play this position here, because that way, first of all, I'm faster here, and if someone's trying to cross, I can go up here and take a shot if I have enough gun depression, and also can take a shot here. And then after that, I might look what's going on, and then reposition from there. Himmelsdorf is a bad map again. It is completely flat, and that's not good. Now, obviously, you have the medium side is really horrible on this map. The medium side is absolutely horrible. It's just flat ground again with 90-degree angles, or, you know, rather 180 at some, like this. What you could try to do is take this middle area, but obviously you can be pushed relatively easily. Overall, this map is just not very well made, and it doesn't fit for World of Tanks Blitz. It doesn't even fit for World of Tanks PC, so there is that. What you can also do is you can shoot through the trains. In some places, you can shoot through the trains here in this position. As you can see, where there's only one row of trains, you can shoot through. And if you are, for example, very aggressive, and there's some people camping here, you can use this angle right here to shoot through. There are going to be maybe some tank destroyers camping back in these positions, and also in areas like this. You're going to have some I-7s, whatever, you can play them from here. Now, should you go to the heavy side of this map now, that depends. If you are there to push through, then yes. If you are there to camp, no. Because obviously, all these angles that are useful as well, like this, for example. If you have some guy camping back there, you can take this area. And even from here, you can see the, well, shorter side of the medium side. The problem here is that the heavy side on this map is not that bad, actually, but again, depends how many mediums do they have, because if you're a heavy and you fight here against the enemy heavies, your medium tanks are over there, your medium tanks die, then you have the enemy medium tanks right in your ass, and you don't want to have that. So you always want to take as much space as possible, because if you don't have the space, you can't defend yourself against 1, 2, 3 sides. That is simply not possible. That's why you always want to have as much space and as much control over the map as possible. But if you are a E5 or a Super Conqueror, and you have the medium tank advantage already, then you could try to play from this position. I wouldn't recommend it. It is a risky move to pull off. It might work, it might also not work. What I would do is just go to those positions over there that I showed you earlier, and just push one flank together. And if the enemy team's there, you have a 7v7, you have an equal fight. If there are less than 7 enemies there, you have a 7v5, 7v4, and you can already take out some enemies. And then obviously at that point, you only have to fight a lot less, and winning is a lot easier, given that your team is actually capable of inflicting damage towards the enemy. Like Goldville, whatever you do, don't go into the city. Bad position. Very, very bad position. Don't do that. Now, what you can do, I would recommend, if you're a heavy tank, you can play this area down here. Obviously, you can get peeked from the top. High ground is also very useful, very important. You can use this position here to get shots all the way down here. And also, if if you do have some bad heavy tank players on your team and they move to the city, they might spot some other bad heavy tank players going into the city here, and you can get cross shots in this position, and you can also get some over here as well if there's a tank destroyer that gets lit up. Now, what I would recommend, though, as a heavy tank player, or something like that, is I would go here, especially in a 113 and IS-7. Those vehicles are going to be fast enough. You can take this position here. You're relatively safe from fire over there. If there's someone popping out there, you might have a problem. And obviously, if the enemies are dumb and they go city, you're going to have a problem as well. But then, if you have a majority of the enemies in the city, what you can do is you can drop over, and then you can move forward into this position and hold this bush here, basically. Now, the cave is very useful, especially if you're a medium tank player. It is more useful from this side than it is from this side, so keep that in mind as well. I wouldn't go all the way up there because, again, you have no cover. But if you are going to play from this area, what you have to watch out for, obviously, if someone's peeking here, someone's going back there, you try to peek them, you can get shot from all these areas here. So that is something you have to watch out for. Same goes for the other side, obviously, with these positions that get replaced by rocks rather than houses. But overall, these are very good positions. Like, basically, these positions, and then this here as well. This slight... Why are you looking at me? Look, these things, if you're far enough away from them, they're not 3D. They're just 2D images that look at you. So, keep that in mind. Now, what you can also do, sort of this position down here, if the enemies are fully in the city, then what is useful is going to be these here as well. We can get fire here, here, here. And what you can already see here, you have 3 spots that you can shoot into, and the enemies have to peek one of them. And if they do peek you, all you gotta do, you're protected. You know, you're held down. They're not. They're fully exposed. Boom. Damage. So don't go into the dang city. So here we go. Tank destroyers camping back here, back here, back here. Obviously, that's what they always do. Don't go into the city. This is not a tournament game. You don't want to play the cap circles. Obviously, in Supremacy, the cap circles are in the city. That is why I hate Supremacy, first of all, that they force you to somewhat go city to get the stupid cap circle. And, yeah, just don't play Supremacy. That's your best option, really. Now, what you can do, and what I would do as a medium, is try to go here, spot if someone's coming up. However, obviously, if they have a lot of medium tanks, you might get pushed, so don't go too aggressive. You're also going to have these tank destroyer positions all the way back there. Even if you have heavies down there where they are going to camp, you are going to get lit up. That is why, again, you want to get rid of the mediums. You want to get rid of the mobility and the eyes. Because then, if, you know, there is no medium up here, all you're going to do is boom, boom, boom. And that is some dead heavies in there if they expose themselves. Obviously, if they start capping, that's super annoying. Or if they take the 2 Supremacy cap circles. That's the problem with Supremacy, right? They force you to play on the bad side of the map most of the time, which is very sad. But yeah, obviously, if you are then playing a position like this, you are going to have to deal with some tank destroyers. So always watch out how many tank destroyers there actually are on the enemy team. If there are 0, then you probably don't have to bother, unless you have some heavy tank or something camping. If you have 3 enemy tank destroyers, you really have to be careful with what you're doing over here. And even with an IS-7 or something like that, you can make these hills work well enough. Whereas with a mouse, I mean, the best bet you have then is to go behind these houses here and side scrape off the house and then hope that you don't get rushed around the side. Now, obviously, in the end, always, it depends. If 2 teams are equal, if 2 teams are of exact equal skill and 1 team has more map control, that team tends to win. And that's why I always say don't go city. Obviously, it sometimes might not work out because your team's just absolutely horrible. And that happens. That is normal. And obviously, the problem with Supremacy is you have 1 cap circle here, 1 cap circle here. So you do give that up. But what I would do, I never play for points in Supremacy if I have to during subplatoons. I always play for the damage because I absolutely do not care about the points whatsoever. So yeah, I would recommend turning that mode off. If you do like it, though, then I'm not going to make a separate Supremacy video because I simply don't play the mode. And I'm not going to try to make assumptions or whatever about a thing that I haven't played in 3-4 years or whatever. At least actively. Ghost Factory, don't go to this area, ever. If you're a mouse, if you're super heavy, the garage in there, or the whatever is that, is your biggest or best bet. If your tank destroyer positions like this are very useful. On the other side, the tank destroyer positions aren't as great. I've seen 183s camp back there, I don't know why. But heavy tanks, Kronwagen, from this side especially, you want to take this ridge right here. Obviously, you'll want to have to watch out for if anyone is going to go there. But if you are, then you can first of all shoot through the train if someone's peeking around here. And you can also go around if anyone's trying to take this position from you. And this area here is very, very important on this map. If you take control of that, you have a big portion of the field under your control. So if you have a lot of mediums, or if you are a medium, then what you would try to do is you push up to this position. Because from here, what you can do is you can shoot essentially everyone that might be hiding back there. And the same goes from the other side, really. If you are on this side and you take control of this area, you get rid of the mediums in this area. What you can do then is you can go over here and you can take all the shots at the back here. And you're going to probably have to fight the guy that's sitting here, but it is going to be a lot easier. So try to take this area on this map. That is very important to do. That's pretty much the most important thing to do on this map. All the way over there on the heavy side, it's just completely useless. Either you have a fight that isn't meaningful, or you just spend 3 minutes traveling around the map while the rest of your team is getting destroyed. And now, in this thing here, you have a lot of cover. You know, if you're a slow, super slow tank, then what you can do is, for example, you can go through, and then you can open these doors, and you can like try and take shots here, fight there, or go to that door, go around. But I would not recommend going all the way out there, especially because if you're a slower tank, you want to go more towards the middle, because from there you have a better chance to move left and right over the map. Because obviously if you're stuck in like a corner in the middle of nowhere, it's going to take you a minute to get anywhere useful, and by then your team might already be dead. And on Yukon again, same thing here. Do not go to the absolute top of the map here. You can play around the cap circle. That can be a very useful position. What is also relatively useful, not all the time though, is these ridge here. This is only on this side, so if there's some heavies trying to push this middle part of the map, then this ridge can be very useful as well. Now obviously what you do have mainly is you might have a tank destroyer sitting back here, something like that, and your mediums and your light tanks going up there, which is going to be a very good position. However, what I like to do is I like to play from here, because first of all, from here I have more options going towards this side, and I can also get out easier if I get pushed by multiple people. Whereas here, I have to cross this entire section here. All I gotta do here is go around, and boom, I'm gone. Unless there's some guy camping back there, but even then I can take some solid shots. So, the position I like to play on this map is here. That is regardless of tank. I don't play very many tank destroyers these days. But if it's a heavy tank, a medium tank, a light tank, I like to play these bushes here. And also, obviously, on the other side as well. You might have some people camping in this spot that you definitely have to watch out for. If you're on a tank destroyer, obviously you want to try to sit back a bit more. On this side, you have the problem that you don't have a ridge like this, you know, so it's relatively flat. So what you can do as well is to try to get this area up here. You know, not that over there doesn't matter. But like try to take this area here, because then again you can go for a surround. If the enemies are on this side, you can surround them this way, and if the enemies are here, you can surround them that way, and that is exactly what you want to do. So ideally, you want to take this area here, over there, and then also try to not be surrounded by anyone coming from here. Molenbeek City, useless. Now, tank destroyers, you don't get a better spot than this one. And the same goes for the other side. On here you have a bunker, the other side you have one as well. You actually have that position down there as well, if you wish to take that. That's also going to be very useful. This map's very open up here. So if you are going to push forward here, make sure you do have a tank advantage, that your heavies are coming with you, that you can take this area down here. And obviously from here, the best position you can pretty much have is up here. If anyone's down there, you have the house. Obviously you do have to watch out for someone camping in that area, but that is unlikely. Obviously you have this thing protecting you from back there, and then the bunker and the houses protecting you from that side. So you can take peeks here, so this position is very useful. Same goes for the other side as well. You know, the houses are going to protect you from this side as well. Now what you can do if you're a heavy tank, a good gun depression heavy. Now obviously if you're on a heavy tank that doesn't have a lot of gun depression, then you could theoretically go city, but at that point you're either going to get wrecked because the entire enemy team is stupid and some Vickers light is in the city, or you're just going to spend half an hour driving through it and nothing's happening. So what I would recommend is going here. It's relatively flat up here, so you can play this position relatively well. Can get shots over here as well. And if necessary, you can then also push down here and attack any tank destroyer that might be capping. And you're also safe against the city because you can cover that off. So basically, this is what I would recommend in an IS-7 and IS-4. Because again, you're somewhat towards the middle of the map and you can move around relatively effectively. You know, if you have the entire enemy team up there, where you can move around here and then try to attack them from behind, or go back and help like this. Or what you can do is you can sit and snipe, but I don't recommend that. But I would not recommend going into the city unless you absolutely have to. And even then, I wouldn't. And remember this, if Port Bay, if you go city, you're gay. You know why? Because you get fucked in the ass. So, don't go city, obviously, on this map. What you do here is ideally, I mean, you might have some tank destroyers camping back there. Ideally, if you are a, well, very bad heavy tank player, you're going to camp up there, but I hope you're not a very bad heavy tank player. I hope you're an excellent heavy tank player, because what you're going to do then is you're going to take this ridgeline. You're going to take this ridgeline right here, right? IS-7s, IS-4s, you can play from down here. If you got gun depression, you can play up there. If you're a medium tank, you'd go and take that island, and also try to also push out all the way. Don't just sit here, go all the way up into that ditch. And also, if you can, try to go up here. You have a very easy open on anyone that is going to sit back here, because if the enemy is like sitting in this ditch, you pretty much already won, unless obviously your team or you decide to throw away. Take this ridgeline, most important part of the map, and if you don't take it, you're probably going to get wrecked. What you do want to watch out for, though, is to get flanked, or ideally you also want to try to flank around the, well, inside of the city here. And I'll just come around here and then go up. You are maybe going to encounter some tank destroyers camping back here, or some heavy tanks. I've seen VK90s camp up there. I see M60Os camp up there. I don't know why. You might also see someone camping up there and then stopping you on the other side of this. But the basics of this map, take the ridgeline, take the island, and then play from there. And then if they're in the city, you can take these hill positions and shoot down on them. And if they're sitting back here, you can then overwhelm them by having the better positions. Now, Winter Malinovka, again, is one of the more complicated ones because the city is in the middle. But it is not the hardest one, definitely. As a medium tank player, I would definitely try to have a look first up here, especially if you're a fast one. Take this position, see what's happening, if there's some people pushing back there. I wouldn't necessarily push all the way down there at the beginning, unless you know that they only have 1 or 2 media. And because obviously, if someone's then cutting you off, you can't get out. So I would not push that too far and play this position first. Have a look what you can see. Because the thing is, as long as you know 2-3 good positions on each map, you're already doing better than a majority of players in the game. And then you can also take a position like this. If you have heavies on the enemy team that are trying to do some funky stuff, they're pushing, you can then crossfire them from here. And obviously, if you're heavy in that position, you want to watch out for getting wrecked by medium tanks. It's that simple. Tank destroyer is probably going to sit up here. Obviously, that's the regular camp destroyer positions. And yeah, there's like some maps have better tank destroyer spots, some have worse. What I would do in a heavy tank, what I do most of the time is I'll go here, so that if anyone tries to push up here and I'm fast enough, I can take a shot at them already from here. And then if there's a tank destroyer up there, I can have a look. Where are you? Got the bush to protect me, which is very useful. I don't really like going all the way up there. It's not really that useful in my eyes. I prefer going here, because you can, well, if you want, you can go back around, but you also have the control over all these areas here. Obviously, again, watch out for the tank destroyers. If you do choose to go here, never stay here. Always go up here. If you do commit to this line, always go up here. If you stay down there, you might as well not even go there. Get up here, take the control. You know, now you're at the highest point, and you can take this area over. Again, map control. Take the middle, take the fighting positions, and then overwhelm the enemy team. It's that simple. Take the map control, take the middle of the map where all the good fighting positions are, and then overwhelm the enemies with the mass of your team. That is why you ideally always want to go together in one area, or either you push all together in one area to take out some parts of your team, of the enemy team, or you spread out, which obviously is a bit more difficult. You do spread out and then have crossfires, but obviously if you do that method, you can get beaten by the donkey push everywhere one side, So you want to watch out for that. But ideally, heavies here, here, and then mediums I would play in the other side. And then after that, it's simply, where are the enemies? Where can I move to get a bit of shot? Boom. And now Castilla, which is going to be remade in update 9.0. So if you see this after, it might not be fully accurate. I mean, they're going to redo the graphics. I don't know how much they're going to change the positions. If you're tank destroyer, you can obviously sit up there and in here. Same goes to the other side, obviously, at those regular hills. If you are a medium tank, I would highly, highly recommend going up the hill here. There is not really much else you can do. I mean, you could try to go to the houses here and try to get crossfires onto the heavies, but obviously from there, first of all, you're at a worse angle and you're more likely to get spotted. If you have enemy heavies up there, as a heavy, I would still recommend going up there and pray that you have good mediums. If you don't, you screw it anyway on this map, really. And then you can go and play this area and also spot the tank destroyers back here. There might be some tank destroyers camping back there as well, so you want to watch out for that. And if you're on this side, what you can do is you can go back here and you can hold this. If there's heavies pushing, you can then take these positions and do that. If you push on this side, definitely want to watch out for tank destroyers at the back, because obviously they will have very easy angles at you. Now, I don't know if you know this trick, but it is pretty good. Now, first of all, obviously, if you're a tank destroyer, you can also camp here. From this side, you can camp on this side to get more shots into the back here. And if you're on that side here, right there, you can also camp up there. If you are a tank destroyer, wouldn't recommend doing that in a heavy tank. If you're a 113 or a very fast heavy tank, what you can do at the beginning of the battle is you can, well, essentially come out here and then push all the way into this position, because that way you essentially gain a lot of the map control with just one tank. You can take shots in this area, you can spot here, so your tank destroyers that are back there can take shots. You can even spot some of this area right here, and you can sort of figure out if something's here. Some people like to play this position, obviously, that I said, to get shots to all this side. Not the greatest positions to have, but ideally as a heavy tank, you will be able to try to go up here and try to take all this area. You know, some go up, some go around, and then you take that area. Or if you are risky and you want to come here, then you do that. Or again, if you want to do the full push method, all tanks go push that side, but obviously you're going to have to watch out for tank destroyers in the back, and that is not going to be very healthy. So doing that 7 people push one side method is more usable from this side, where you go and go this way. So there's that. I mean, this is both usable in standard battles and also tournaments, because, I mean, coordination in standard battles is non-existent. So ideally, yeah, medium, you go here, you take shots of the heavies. Heavies, you go over there, you take shots of the mediums. That's Castilla. And now we get to Canal. I think probably the best map in Blitz, to be honest, with how versatile it can be. However, there is one thing that you should never do. If you're a heavy tank and you're on this spawn over there, on the red spawn, never push up here. Never push up there. Ever. You're going to get tracked, you're going to get shot. Never push up there. What you can do as a heavy tank is you can go and push into this ditch. It is very useful. It's very well to control. You know, if you're in this ditch, you can see everyone that's going up here. You can have control over all this area. And if you're in this ditch, you can have control over all of this area. However, obviously, you can get pushed from up here and from around the side. So it is a very risky maneuver. As a medium tank, yeah, go here. And ideally, what I always do is I stay in this spot here, see if someone crosses. Same on the other side as well. Obviously, first of all, try to get there before the enemy, and then try to hold for an enemy that's trying to push. And then if you have a M60 or something with a lot of gun depression, you can play here. However, obviously, watch out for a tank destroyer that will be camping in this position, or sometimes even a medium tank or a light tank camping in those positions, because this is World of Tanks Blitz that we're talking about. So intelligence is very rare to be seen. And also up there, you know, this hill is also going to be very useful, especially if you have enemies crossing up there, that you can shoot them very easily, and you can also shoot into here, this area. And if you do manage to push up there and you're a grill or something like that, you can use this position all the way up there and then get shots all the way across the map. But again, I wouldn't recommend going up there, really, especially from this side. I wouldn't recommend it at all. If you're on this side and you have 2-3 heavies, push those 2-3 heavies up, try to at least, and then take a grill The problem is, obviously, once your heavies are up there, what are they going to do? They got to come back down, and then they're exposed on this side. So, I'd play around the middle, or around the ditch, pretty much, in heavies, and I wouldn't really commit that far up there. Well, Vineyards used to be a night map, now it's not, but that doesn't mean that the players on it are going to be any brighter. What you do, medium tank, ideally from this side, you want to take again. You want to take an early spot, light tank, medium tank, bush, boom. You can see a lot. The more you go to the middle, the more you see. Obviously, what you can also do is you can try to push into the city over there, or the ruins, basically. It's not really, it's more ruins. Never go in the city, never. Just ignore it, it doesn't exist. If there are enemies in the city, enjoy the shooting gallery. You know, you have so many good positions that you can just simply have a go at. If you are in any form of heavy tank with turret armor and gun depression, this is your spot to be. Might get crowded, but that's how you do it. You go here. Tanks throwers gonna probably camp back there or up here or in these areas and back there as well. So you wanted to watch out for that, but from here you have pretty good control. Obviously, the problem is if the enemy do decide to push into the ruins, then you are going to get crossfired. That is can be definitely a problem. Now, same goes for here. Play this side. If they're in the city, again, you have easy shots. Just don't let them out of the city. It's that simple. Don't let them out of the city and don't get yourself shot. And, well, from this side, the ruins, they're good, but they're not great. What I would always do is obviously go here. You can spot anyone that's crossing there. You can even see if someone's down here as well. And then from there, you can decide, okay, where are the enemies? Where can I move? Where can I get the better positions? Because, I mean, this video is more about the early positions, what you take, rather than what happens in the end game, because to make a video about what happens then, it is going to be about 7 hours long for each map. So there is simply no point in doing that. So in this video, I'll try to show you the good early positions, basically where you go at the beginning, and then from there, where are the enemies? You can get some early damage, and then from there you see where are the enemies actually going, and then you look. You use your brain, right? You use your brain, and then reposition from there. Or stay if you get shots. So obviously, if you're in a position and you get shots, you take the shots. If you don't get shots from the position you are, you try to reposition to get shots without getting shot. That's how simple it is. And now Yamato, heavy, obviously mediums here. Tank is probably going to sit up there. That's what they always do. You play this position, especially also in heavies, you can play these positions very well too. If you don't have gun depression as a heavy, you can play sort of them here around this side. I wouldn't go all the way up to the ship, to be honest. If the enemies are at the ship, you might have a problem though. So again, take as much map control as possible. If you have one guy that is sitting up here that can't get pushed, you can build up a solid crossfire. Still, I wouldn't be that guy that goes there, but if you have a guy that is there, then it can be somewhat useful. If I play an I-7 or something on this map, what I do is I still go up there and then just push through because I can. But ideally, you want to take a position like this one or like this one down here, so you can, again, have a crossfire ideally, and can also get out of that position if necessary, right? If someone's deciding to push up there, you can shoot them from here. If someone's here, you can, boom, peek them. And if there's a lot of people pushing you, boom, you're gone. So, yeah, I would just play in a medium, obviously play up there, play here. Tankster is going to sit back there. And if you are heavy and you insist on going city, then stay as close to the medium side as possible. Canyon, if you can go mid, you do go mid. It is how this map works. If you have gun depression, you go here. If you don't have gun depression, you don't go here. If you have any gun depression and you don't go here, you're playing this map wrong. Go here. It doesn't matter if there's 5 people sitting here. You go there. So, this is basically the best position on this map. You can pretty much see every part of the map. You can spot here, 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 and also all these areas over there. You can also switch sides if the enemy tries to push you. What you don't do if you're on this spawn, do not go here, because obviously you have this entire area that is completely open and exposed. It's going to get you shot, not only if you go in, but also if you try to retreat. So, don't go on this side of the map if you're from this spawn. You go to the middle if you have gun depression. If you don't, you go push up here towards these positions. I wouldn't recommend going all the way up most of the time. But here in the middle can be also very useful. Or you can push around to the bottom if you know that the enemy team is on this side. And also you're probably going to have some guys camping back here or also tank destroyer back there. So you want to watch out for that. Same goes for this side. You're going to have some guys camping in the back here. But overall, if you have gun depression, you play this position. That's pretty much the best thing you can do on this map. And if you don't, then maybe try from this side, go up here, take that spot, you know, hold that. And if you're on this side, obviously pretty exposed here, I would go try to get this position here, and then try maybe push around here and contest the guys in the middle, you know, by going around like this. So, yeah, go the middle. Unless you don't have gun depression, then delete, I guess. Now, main ruins, you do not go up here. This is like Fort Despair, but fancy, basically. What you do is mediums, you want to ideally try to go here, take that position. Obviously, take the bridges, especially if you're medium with gun depression. You can just take this position here, peek over. You gotta watch out though, because sometimes the heavies are obviously gonna push with you. As a heavy tank, I would go to the middle here and play this spot. It's gonna be very useful. Tank destroyer as well. There's not very good, many good positions on this map for tank destroyers, especially for campy ones. But you can camp back there and there, so you can get shots at this area here. I would never ever go anywhere near that area over there, unless I have to, unless I go fight in there. This road close here can be sometimes useful to push through, you know, to build up a second flank to come around. But behind the temple, that position is essentially completely useless, and all you do is essentially box yourself in and reduce yourself to a usability of about -12. So if you can play here, I would, as a heavy as well. And you can play around here and help out your mediums to, again, create a crossfire, which is very useful. This map is hot garbage. Don't ever go into the city part of this map. Ever. Now, one thing you could technically do is go this area here. Only a heavy tank, though. You know, go around the cap circle area. Going back there is essentially just worthless, and no one's going to ever be any effect from there because you don't have any map control and you don't have any good positioning. Ideally, what you want to do anyway is you want to go here. If you're heavy, I always play this position here in an E5 in the Super Conqueror, stuff like that. Or, well, obviously also going down in the tiers. Play this position right there. It's going to be very useful. In a medium, what you can do, I wouldn't push up to all the way here, but you can take this spot. You got some overview here. Tank destroyers got no positions. I mean, you can camp back there, but why are you playing tank? Just stop playing tank destroyers, for real. They're annoying. They're just annoying. So you can play from here, or you can also play from back there. Again, take the middle ideally if you can. Don't go to those train carts, because that's probably, yeah, a lot of deaths. But again, from here you can get a lot of good shots, but you can also get shot from that side, so watch out for it. And yeah, ideally, again, control the middle of the field, and then maybe have someone that is going to save you from getting pushed from the back if the enemies do decide to go city. And even if they do decide to go city, you can just yeet around them. So, as always, map control, middle, overwhelm them. Naval Frontier. No. What you ideally want to do is you want to go to the middle first. If you're a fast medium tank, then you have two options. You either go to the middle to get very fast spots, but you can do that in a fast heavy tank as well. So I would definitely go up there. I'm just demonstrating it here. So you go here, you can camp up here and up there if you are a tank destroyer. I would never camp in a tank destroyer, but you know, I'm just saying this so that you're aware where the tank destroyers are going to camp most of the time. Obviously, take shots if someone's crossing towards that side. Again, this side has a problem, as in once you're in, you can't get out, and that is not very good. Now, these positions up there can be somewhat useful. I also know there's a supremacy cap up there, but I don't care about supremacy. Now, what you can also do as a heavy tank, for example, is you can just push the enemies here to take their side, or a useful position for tournaments, I guess, is like here. Again, you can see if someone's camping up there, and then go and push those people. And up here, what I would also do, again, as always, don't camp in place. Always try to take the middle, because if you don't take the... Do it strategically. Don't get yourself killed trying to get it, right? You know, this position here is far more important, but also slightly more dangerous than sitting back there. Because obviously, the more position you have, the more options you have to move around to. So basically, if you're a medium, you try to take this here, and then this is not a great peak angle because the enemy are going to have a good cover here and you don't. Same goes for the other side, but you do have the position. So if you have 2-3 guys up here and they get 1 or 2, you can push. But if you're also here, then they can't really push you because you can cover off the entire distance. So yeah, it kind of starts to see, you can start to see the pattern, right? How most of these maps work, right? Don't go to the extreme heavy side. Go hold the middle, hold the medium side. Don't camp in the back. Take the middle and try to overwhelm the enemy and try to crossfire them. Right? You see that, right? You know the story by now. You know the story by now. Don't go here. You can play the middle of the city, right? Like these positions here around the bridge. You can play that. As a medium on this side, I would just, you know, push up to over here. Yeah, just... Why do people, like, insist on always going to those horrible positions now? Go here. You got a lot of overview. You can get shot, though, if this guy back there, someone's camping in up this position here. You know, this bush, as you can see. You're going to see some tank destroyers camping back here. You are going to see tank destroyers, obviously, also camping in that position back here. And as a medium tank, you're probably best around this position or also in the middle. What I'd like to do in a heavy tank, in a gun depression heavy tank, is play here or here. But obviously, if you are in a position like this, you have to watch out that you don't get pushed from the city, because that way you're not going to have any cover from there. It's obviously not great. And then, what I did say, what you can do in an E100, in a mouse, in a VK90, in a VK100, whatever, is play this road here. You're reasonably close enough to the cap circle so you can cover it off, but you're not away from your team. And obviously, if the enemies are doing some shenanigans over here, you can very quickly crossfire. And obviously, if you're all the way back there, you can't do that. And that's the point. Now, if you're on the extreme heavy positions, you're alone. You can't get any crossfire because those heavy positions are always going to be isolated on 90% of maps. They're always covered off by some sort of houses, whatever. So you don't want to go there because you don't build crossfire at all. Now it is time for Faust. So, here it goes. That's my intelligence. That disappears from my brain the second I open this game. Now, spot from this position, very useful bush. Same on the other side as well. You can see if someone is coming up here or going there. Obviously, there is going to be also very useful if you're in a medium tank. This one can be useful, you know, to see if someone's crossing. But ideally, you would want to go up there or also play around the bunker. Now, for tank destroyers, this map's not ideal either. You know, you don't really have that many far camping positions. You have a lot of near ones, though. You know, like this bush, obviously. I've seen tons of 183 sitting in here. And same goes for the other side in this bush back there. Problem with the heavy side, again, it's not really great. You, again, have a lot of bad angles there. You are going to sometimes, if no one of your team goes to this side, and you are going to sometimes experience someone camping up there and getting crossfires. To the people that do that, you're a pussy, but then again, it is tactically useful, but still, pussy tactically useful, basically. And again, fighting from here, it can be somewhat useful, right? If you do push through. If you start fighting here, and some of the enemies are going to push you around, boom, you're gone. You get surrounded. So, if you commit to city, you push that city, or you don't go there in the first place. It's that simple. New base crap, get your ass on the bridge, don't go over there. Next, Normandy, another World of Tanks PC port, and therefore not very amazingly optimized for Blitz. Now, if you have any sort of gun depression, this is your place, that's where you go. Or you can also play this one. Obviously, tank destroyers are going to be camping all the way along the back of the map, probably most likely. You might have some guys sitting up on that big bunker as well, or on the church. That might happen. So yeah. Now, a bunker and a church, what do they have in common? Something a kid should never see from the inside. So, anyway, this position is very useful. And you can also take shots at the tank destroyers back there. Going up there is valid. You can do that, especially in super heavier vehicles. You can definitely do that. Again, try to take as much control as possible. But what I would strongly urge you to do is, especially if you have any form of gun depression, is to play this position here. And also here, you can get pushed from below. So if you don't have a lot of tank destroyers, on the enemy team, you could technically go around here. And then watch out for that. But overall, gun depression, you take this line here. And then you shoot some enemies and pray that your team doesn't fall apart anywhere else. Because obviously if you get pushed around here, that is not good. So ideally you want to have people here. And you also want to have some people at least passively holding that area. Or holding it while losing hit points. That's, I guess. And then from here you can pretty much access the entire enemy flank here. Which is very, very useful. And now, Hellas, the last one. Whew, that was pretty long. I mean, the video is definitely not perfect, obviously. There are going to be some positions that I've skipped. I can't explain everything. I try to make it as short as possible so that you don't bore yourself to death. So if you enjoyed it, then yeah, that's great. This position is very useful for tank destroyers for sitting back here, for covering off pretty much all the angles all the way around. Again, ditch bad. Wouldn't recommend. You can obviously take the cap area here and also this road down there. Or just, you know, be brave and take it. But obviously, medium tanks, either here or up there. That's what I would do. Or sometimes I also try to hang back a bit and see what I can see and then move accordingly. You're also going to have some people camping up here. This is a very weird map in how it's designed. Yeah, again, you try to take the map control. Try to take, surround the enemy, and the best way you can do that is to take as much of the map as possible. If you have people going to the heavy side, and you can see that there's a lot of heavies here, you know, try to clear out the field and then try to go at them from the back, because otherwise then you obviously get flanked and surrounded. You always want to essentially clear out one flank, and then take out the other one so you don't get surrounded. So you're the one surrounding rather than you get surrounded. So that's true for pretty much any map. And obviously, there are a lot of other things that you have to keep in mind to get good. This video isn't suddenly going to make you a god at the game, but I hope it gave you some inspiration of what positions are useful, what positions are not useful, because that's the basics of this video, essentially. I won't try to go into any expert level things, because obviously those are things that you're going to have to figure out for yourself, how you would like to play. But overall, I think this video is more for, like, where should you actually go, and what positions are useful, what positions aren't useful, so you get a sort of general idea. And even with this, you are going to already do better than average, and that's not a guarantee, because I don't want you to sue me. But anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. And now, I'm gonna have a drink. See you for the next one. Goodbye.